Hey, everyone. Hope you're having a good evening. We are starting to have some people join us, and thank you to all of our friends watching on Facebook. If you're just stopping by and you're like, what's going on here? We have an incredible show planned for you today. You are now watching Creative Conversations. I am Michael Sean Corby, and I'm so happy to be here with you as the NAHA Committee Chair. Hey, out there to all my Living Proof friends as well. I want to welcome you back. This is our first show of the year, so I want to say happy 2021. Aren't we so happy that 2022 is gone? Bye. See you next time. I know you stylists have really, been working so hard and keeping it all together, and so we want to keep these creative conversations fun. We want to keep them light, and we want to keep them informative. If you watched them last year, you know we just had creme de la creme. Some of the biggest names in the industry have joined us on these. And if you missed any of those, please go to our website, probeauty.org/NAHA. And that's where you can find everything. You can not only find these interviews, but you can find a resources page. So if one of our artists talks about a specific wardrobe tip or a photographer, any of that, they've gone ahead and given us notes, so you can find that there as well. So it's pretty much everything you need about creative conversations. Going forward, after our incredible kickoff with our guests today, we're going to be hosting nominees. And this has never been something we've done exclusively, but we're going to do it this year to really focus on the individuals who are nominated for awards this year. You're really going to get to know these folks. You're going to learn what it takes to really have nominated work. And I'm just really going to dig in and get as much information from those nominees. And I'm really excited to get to know some new faces as well. And we have some familiar faces you'll know. So can't wait for that. So when do we find out who's nominated? Hello, haven't you been paying attention? It's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. I don't want to get this wrong. 2 p.m. Eastern. I have a grip of notes, by the way, today. We are going to broadcast this live, and we do some pretty incredible videos for our nominations. We're so excited. Everybody's got it ready to launch, ready to push the button. 11 a.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern on the PBA Facebook page. So watch it, share it with your friends. I'm sure you're going to be as excited as we are. And that is broadcasting live tomorrow, January 14th. Okay, so where are the awards going to be? I'm glad you asked. They're actually not in a week in Long Beach, not this year, because there's a little something going on in the world. We have moved the awards to Cosmoprof. So those of you who love to grab your girls and go to Vegas and have a good time in Vegas, you're going to get one last hurrah to do that and celebrate NAHA this year. That is August 29th in Las Vegas, usual bat place, usual bat channel. And that will take the place of our ISSE show with NAHA. We wanted to keep that a live event for you, so get out your good dress and a pair of killer heels, and we will see you there. In 2022, it's going to be in January again in Long Beach, back at our own beautiful theater, and we're so glad to see all of you there. So now let me get on with it. My guest today, I'm not going to say the name just yet. I'll keep you waiting in the wings. The Hollywood Reporter named our guest today one of Hollywood's most influential hairstylists, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 years running. He's world famous for his work on talent that only needs one name, maybe Lupita, Oscar winner, um, and many others that I'm going to get through in the rest of the show. He's featured in the top 25 beauty moments of the year. His work for Serena Williams' Vanity Fair cover grabbed global attention and sold out immediately. I tried to get mine. And he was a finalist for Refinery 29's Beauty Innovator of the Year. He is featured in the list of top 20 influential Black people under 40 years old. He looks under 30, you'll see. He has more magazine covers, including, I don't know, little things like Vogue, Vanity Fair, Elle, things like that. His brand, which bears his name, won the most inclusive hair brand at Yahoo. He won his first award by the age of 18, or I think he was actually 17. And then he won dozens more after that. And he sat on committees and he's been a part of judging. And we're so happy and proud to have him on our NAHA committee now as of 2021. He actually jumped in early in 2020 and he was a judge this year. So get ready for all that. And please help me welcome to the show this incredible talent and friend, Vernon Francois. Okay, turn on your camera. There he is. Welcome.
I feel like I should be walking out. Thank you so much, Michael, Sean,
Well,
Colby. That
I'm gonna
was
toast to you.
fantastic.
We're having a little champagne toast to
Oh,
toast.
yes.
I mean, it's the night before the Oscars of hair. Cheers.
Uh,
So
Well,
you're the
just
healthy man there.
a toast for just being alive and doing what we love to do, and celebrating that is worthy of a toast as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And I know you're busy. You were just with, Serena until late last night, and you're on the phone with Iman. I mean, wow, excuse me, it must be such a hard life. We're just very excited you're here. And what we do traditionally is, many people and before I start, folks, if you have questions, plug those questions right into Facebook. He's here live. This is not recorded. If you have a question about his celebrity clients, about his gorgeous work, about the covers, about what that takes, now is your chance. Plug in those questions. Okay, I'm back. I'd like to find out who our guests were when they were little. And I started reading about you. Is this true? Did you start at 8 years old? Is this true? And you were like in a salon by 14? I'm going to need you to tell us this story, please.
I mean, when you look at it, well, when I think about it now, 8 years old is quite young, but I guess it's not young for someone who is really willing to defy the odds. And I think as we develop into adulthood, our curiosity as a child, if that is not fed into, you then can actually wonder the world, questioning yourself. And I think I had a lot of curiosity as a child. And so 8 years old was the beginning of me exploring what that curiosity, or the possibilities of the curiosity. And, I was born into a Rastafarian household, one of 5 boys. And so Sunday afternoons were traditional, with putting rice and peas and chicken on the stove and getting your hair done. And I just remember many moments, but one in particular when my mum would do my hair. It was a painful process. The comb was going through my scalp, and it was just like crying everywhere. And then I always remember looking in the mirror and not really being happy with the finished result. And the polite version is my mum told me, if you're not happy with it, go and figure it out yourself. And so 8 years old, thinking you know better than anyone else, you say, yes, I'm going to do it. And I guess that's when magic started to happen for me. Unbeknownst to me at the time, but I really just went on and really tried to figure out how to interlock and start braiding. Given my upbringing was Rastafarianism, I was always exposed to locks and braids, and extensions was really almost the center of our community. And so me exploring how to braid on any materials that I could get my hands on was not an unspoken thing. I didn't have much. We were poor, for lack of a better word. But what we did have is our imagination. And you just found the materials, and I started twisting and locking on the fringe and on the rug, tassels on the door frames. And then I upgraded to a mop head, the kitchen, the cotton mop heads that you have. I used to unravel them. That was a really good upgrade. I unraveled them all, and then I would braid them all back singular. I thought it mopped the floor better, but it's up to the individual. And then the rest is history. I just really took it on myself to really learn how to weave and braid. And my younger brother, who was my first model, who still has the locks that I started for him over 20 some years ago, his locks are down to his waist, down to the floor now. But I started when I was practicing hair on him. So I've been around for a while.
So you've been doing that for a while, and I'm gonna, I'll definitely get to your question, Sarah. It's actually part of our program, so stick around. In a few minutes, we'll get to your question. And Barbie Mercedes is saying hi to us, beautifiers. Well, it's all about this beautifier right here. Hi to you both. And Sarah, it's a great question. So good, it's one of my questions. So I will get into it. Tell us what was your, so you were in a salon at 14. What was the first big break in working with celebrities for you? Because everybody wants celebrities, but like it doesn't always happen, right? So what was that breaking point?
Yeah, well, I never wanted celebrities. I never got into this. I never. Everything that I've been able to acquire has come of part of, I think, in how I portray myself and what my sort of philosophy is around hair. And I think most people tend to go where they're loved and where love is shown and shared. And that's something that I really believe who I am as a person. But when I was 14 and how I got that Saturday job was through my mum, who hustled someone on the street that was trying to sell her a modeling package for a photo studio where you can go downstairs and have your photos taken. My mum was like, I'll do this deal if my son can come and work for this company. And that's how I got my job as a Saturday guy. I know, hey mum. And this was in one of the top salons in Oxford Circus, central London, in the centre of London. And then I went in there and I quickly realized that my foundation that I had, because I'm self-taught, everything that I learned up until that point was self-teaching from very minimal tools. So I walked into this salon that had blow dryers everywhere, round brushes, bristle brushes, combs, section combs. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I just literally was just in my element. And then I ended up being scouted by a really well-known, respectable hairdresser, Desmond Moe, and who is just phenomenal in his art. His eye for art is just extraordinary. And I shadowed him for a couple of years. He opened up a salon. I worked alongside him, and he was the one that pushed me into doing awards. The fear of doing competitions for me was like, oh, I don't know if I'm worthy of that. There's like natural self-loathing happening. And then when I won my first award, it was the first time that my name was put out in the public domain, and therefore there was magazine articles written, I think because of my age, and I got Newcomer of the Year, and that in itself lent itself to celebrities wanting to come and experience what I had to offer. And because of the nature of the salon where I was, I think location has a lot to do with it. I was in Covent Garden. It's a very cool, hip / cool place to be. And so a lot of people, affluent people, were walking, passing by through the salon as well.
Oh, so the big break, it sounds like it was the excitement of your youth. And I mean, you had the talent. He's like, no talent's required. I got my hands.
Well, I think it's a combination. I think there's always, a lot of it is manifestation and mindset and putting yourself in front of the opportunity. And so I didn't know it was celebrity work that was going to really help my career to propel to the next levels. But what I did know is that the guy that I'm working for is well respected, good at what he does, has a salon. I need to be there. And so I placed myself to be available. And that was the thing that allowed me to meet the opportunity, is making myself available and showing up.
Yeah, I love that. So now we can jump to your question, Sarah. What was your first step to working with celebrities? I think it's a similar question, but were you just like, okay, I'm here and I'm going to make this happen? There had to be kind of a point where you said, because working with celebrities, I've done it. It can be nerve-wracking, right? Because they're pretty special, right? The whole world knows them, right? Like there can be some nerves around it. Is there anything you can give to Sarah as far as advice to, I don't know, get over those nerves or to be ready for that first step?
No advice than something I wouldn't take myself every time I'm booked to do a job, and my agent will contest to this. I'm often always shocked each time I'm still booked on a job, even if I've done the client for years. I guess the reality is, if you love what you do, in the moments up until the point when you have to deliver, there's always going to be some anxiety about it because you care about what you're doing. And so your body is responding to the hormones that are making you do and be the best you can be. And you have to be with that to be able to deliver. And so I've always been very transparent about my emotions with my clients. And so the feedback that I've gotten is that they love to see that I care so much, because then it makes them feel safe. And so I'm always sharing that information with them. I'm like a kid in a candy store every time I touch somebody's hair, almost 30 odd years later, trust me. And so literally that's what it is. It doesn't change. And you just have to be yourself. You will find your tribe. And I think that's what I've learned to do over the years, is to acquire people around me that help me be the best me while I can help them be the best them.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, yeah, I meet a lot of celebrity stylists, and I find that often they're very good at being an artist and being themselves, but also not making the day about them, right? Because you're about the project. You're about, is it a cover? Is it a movie? Is it a red carpet? And I think you have that expertise as well. We also had a comment like, go mom, right? Moms for starting the career. So you're you're a mom. You're gonna have to send
Yeah,
your
you have to
tweet
give it
to
out to the
moms.
parents. It's really important.
So tons more coming specifically about some of his celebrity clients. So hang out for that. But let's start looking at some of your campaigns, Vernon. And I'd like to start with, and we can talk about, you have your own brand, and some people might not know that bears your name. Let's pop up that photo and let's have a look at, that's a
There we go.
beautiful big boost. I mean, he never does anything, right? So let's look at this here. So tell us about that. What I love about it is it's definitely about the hair here, right? And NAHA is a photo competition. So I have a feeling it's your brand. You did the hair. You controlled this baby from start to finish, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, I definitely had a lot of creative impact in this, and I wanted to take out the word control because a lot of the language that I've been using and acquiring over my life's mission is to be intentional about collaboration and what that really looks like. And so on this journey of starting my brand, I often use we. Because without we, there's none of what you're seeing. And I think we often, as artists, forget that collaboration is actually the route to success for anything that we create in it as art.
True.
And so I'm always leading as a collaborator, even though I may have very strong opinions, but don't allow that to skew the idea that I do believe together we can be stronger than singular. And so when I look at this image, it brings so much stories and memories about how this came to be what it is. And yes, you're right. This is about the hair, as we are talking about hair, and I'm wanting to sell products that mimic the nuance and the behaviors of hair. I really wanted that to be the focus. And it was something that I was kind of, over my many years of looking through hair campaigns and stuff, especially that emphasizes with curly, coily, kinky hair, I didn't really see anything that really had true representation of the texture and the density. And so we really try to highlight that in these images, as well as the skin, and showing that one of the girls at the front, in the forefront, this one here, she has 3 or 4 different textures in one head of hair, because that's normal. That's what that hair texture does. And so I was really happy with the finishing of this. And it really is actually, I've never really spoken about this actually with these images. So this is like, it's really layered and there's loads of stuff to talk about it, but it's
Yeah.
I guess it's a proud moment. I haven't looked at this image for a long time, and I knew that some people actually blew this picture up and had it in their rooms. And so without getting really emotional, that's really why you do these stuff, to have imagery that represents the world that we know it to be.
Yeah, I mean it's reminiscent of like some classic Herb Ritts kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful. I love that you opted, many people are wondering, can I mix some black and white photography in there? Usually we don't shoot in black and white, but then we look at the images and we decide it's just more impactful this way. I think it was a good choice because I see all the shine throughout the top of her hair, and I don't know, she's like a 3B, 3C on the ends there, and then she's somewhere in the fours, closer to the scalp,
Ooh,
I'm
yeah,
guessing.
so technical. Come on, Michael Hobby.
I
Okay.
know my curls.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's
So
just so much to say. There's just so much to say, but thank you for showing this.
it's gorgeous. Let's go to another campaign that I found, because you know me, I'm just digging for stuff.
Yeah.
And this is
Who knows
something
it?
that's all over your social media right now. Tell us about what's going on with Redken. And you did this, right? Or you collaborated with this?
Yeah, this is okay, so this is the first time me speaking about it publicly, by the way, because this literally came out like 48 hours ago,
I
like
know.
the top of last week. And so I haven't really spoken out about this, but I'm
You're the
still a little
first.
bit You are the first. We shot this over a year ago, so and then obviously COVID hit, but this was shot with intention to launch next year. You know, normally with the major brands, they shoot all the content and then roll it out the year prior, after. And so I've known of this for a while, but you kind of really can't really grasp the enormity until it goes live. And then there was so much stuff that happens to you in that period of a year as you grow as humans. And I am still in shock that I was a part of this experience. I remember one of my first trips to New York was walking down Fifth Avenue and seeing Redken, and just imagining the possibility of me being a part of this extraordinary company, and what would that look like it is today. And so I'm just a little bit overwhelmed. I have no words to explain to you, because just the whole process and how I got to being here is something that I'm still digesting. But what I do know is that when I look at this, I think of all my colleagues and hair salon friends that I know that I used to work with for many years in the salon. And I look at it and go, I told you so. Look what I'm doing. Look what's happened. Because for a lot of the times, most of them didn't believe in me. And for some of the times, some of them did believe in me. And I really would love to take this image and take it back to these places and go, look, I showed you we can do this. And so it's been a really emotional journey for me. But, you know, in terms of working with Redken and doing this and working at each and every one of these girls had stories about their hair that was really personal. I took my time with each and every one of them. With the kinky equality hair, it was prepped the day before, some things that never really happened on these major platforms. And so the brand themselves were learning, because I lead with education. You know, that's what I do. But the marrying of all these images, the marrying, I can't get my words out. The marrying of all these textures coming together in one space is just so phenomenal. And the team was incredible, from the stylist, makeup, photography, and behind the scenes. And then Redken had like a plethora of artists that all flew in from the world to color and do their create. I mean, it was, and then I was styling the hair. Little old me. I still called my agent on the day and was like, is this really happening? They really want me to do this? And so I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful.
Stunning. I would say one of their best and strongest campaigns ever. I love the diversity. I love the inclusiveness. I love the coloring. Again, it's a campaign that's making the hair pop. So good job.
I also wanted to say, so before we move on, what makes me weep about this is when you look at the kinky curly hair to the left side and all the curly hair textures, you see that it's frizzy, it's fluffy, and even with the afro hair, it has knots in it, because that's the behavior of the hair texture. And so I think more than anything else, I'm very overwhelmed that I had the privilege to present authenticity at this level in my career on this platform.
Yeah, I love it. It feels real and natural. It's gorgeous. So now the next one is for selfish reasons, because I am obsessed with Zendaya. I don't think there has been a more beautiful woman ever. She's just like at the Emmys, obsessed with how she looks always, and I love to show Euphoria. But this, I love how it's like classic Vernon coming through, and Lancome's not some little company. Here, like, how were you able to get your look through? We've obviously got the talent, right, of Lupita and Zendaya, and then you were able to make your style come through. Tell us about this shoot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Lupita's extraordinary, and having the opportunity to work with her for over many, many years now, it's been a learning. Almost every time I'm with her, it's like I'm going to school, in terms of how we can do better as a team. And our goal, our united goal between us both, is to ensure that wherever she's photographed, that she's feeling her most authentic self in that moment. And so we try to really bring that to the forefront, no matter where we are or who is taking the picture. We are there because of who we are, not who you want us to be, sort of thing. And so if you're able to find the language to articulate that you're often able to break boundaries and have access to places that once upon a time may have not allowed you in. And so when we do get this access, we are really very intentional about sitting in our most authentic space. And she does it with such grace. And it's a deep honor to be able to break these boundaries with her because of everything in what she stands for.
Yeah, and it's not it's not the only time we're going to see Lupita today, because we're going to continue to some covers that you've done. And I have to say, and thank you to the Visionaries Agency for providing us all these images and for getting you all the work. I've looked at hundreds, if not thousands, of artists' digital books. Yours is ridiculous. Like, it just keeps going and going. I'm like, some people have like 4 covers or 5 covers. You're like hundreds of covers. It's crazy. I'm like, seriously? Seriously? Like, so let's talk about some covers, because you had so many to choose from. Essence magazine. Rub your eyes, folks. That is correct. That is Iman. That is Iman. She does not age. Not only did she have the coolest husband in the world, David Bowie, but like, she doesn't age. Tell us what it's like working with Iman.
Working with a man is an honor. It's a gift. But first of all, if I may, just being able to align my creativeness with Essence is often something overwhelming for me as well as a young child. Not many magazines or publications were dedicated to people of color. Ebony, Vibes, and Essence were the ones. And Essence was something my mum would religiously have on pre-order, and it would be stocked up. And so to be able to work with Essence has always been something that I'm very humbled by. But then also to work with Essence and have Iman be the muse that I'm working with, I mean, this human being is spectacular in every essence of the word. And fortunate for me, before we collaborated on this particular magazine cover, we had already had some interaction and built a relationship, because I was featured on her website and she reached out and we talked, and she's just so, I'm going to use the word cool, because cool is cool. Like, I don't need to use any special word. She's just really a good human being and was really wanting to know about all the stuff that was happening. And she's seasoned, and it was such a delight to be on set with someone who just knows what to do. She was unapologetic about how everything ran, and it was just so rewarding to sit back and watch this graceful human being do what she knows she's born to do. And it was so humbling, so rewarding. She's so respectful, so gracious. And I'm a little bit still shocked that I have communication with her.
And I know you're like on, each other's text and speed dial now, so I kind of hate you. Tell me about these braids. I mean, how many hours did that take? That's a lot of hair.
This whole shoot was incredible because of the muse, but also the ask of the shoot was also quite huge from Essence, if you look at the spread. And so I single-handedly braided half of this wig that I made here, and then I put braids onto it, but it's all handmade. Some of the braids that you see in her hands were already pre-made, and then half of it isn't. And then I had some new ones. You can see some small ones at the top, and it weighed a ton. But she kept this on the whole shoot. She was flicking it and throwing it, and it's just a testimony. It's just a testament to, like, supermodel doesn't even encompass who she is as a person, but it was just, the braids were just a tip-in on this experience. But yes, it was. I still have that. It hasn't been worn by anyone else, and it won't be.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with that shot. And again, you had hundreds to choose from, so it was very hard for me. Okay, continuing on with your covers. This was the cover, and then this is the editorial portion. You worked with the Smiths. Willow, it seems like a bit of a younger muse for you. Stunning. I love this look you gave her, because it's like you took it to high art from like what could just be putting your braids on top, right? But somehow it just comes through so architecturally in the shot. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I mean, where do I start? Because this hits home for me, because if we just excuse the fact that it's Willow for a moment and just look at the hair texture that I'm working with here, which is locks. I grew up as the word as dreadlocks, and now we know them as locks. And as a Rastafarian, to see this hair texture being celebrated on a global scale is something that we're not accustomed to. And then when it has been, it's always been discriminated against. And so when I did have the opportunity to work with Ava DuVernay as well, and now work with Willow, it's a little bit really emotional, because I wish that I had seen this more when I was younger, especially for my communities. And there are tremendous amount of people that are extremely talented with working with these hair types and textures that just don't get the credit or the visibility that is acquired. And so I don't take for granted when I'm collaborating with anyone that has braids or locks on these platforms, especially for this was an international Cartier campaign. And yes, we can do these sculptures with our hair textures. Yes, our hair can fly. In this image, you see it's moving. And because of that one lock that is going to the left, it really changes the essence of this image. Without that one lock moving across the screen, that shot would not be what it is. And so it's just a testimony to that our hair is beautiful, and our hair can be shown in these stages. And then you have Willow Smith, who's just
stunning.
Woo!
And from my photo experience, it's one of those magical moments in photography where you've got the hair swinging, captured at the exact right moment, and then you placed another hair in the. It's like there's a diagonal line to the opposite corner,
Oh,
and
your
that's what
eyes.
balances the shot. For me, it's
Yes.
like what watch. I think
You're so funny.
Well, I think the hair made the shot for me.
I appreciate that you're looking at the art, because that's what I pride myself on. It's not necessarily what you do, it's how you do it. It's a simple ponytail, but it's the construction of how it's been assembled. And that's where you start to, where I as an artist get really excited about. And yes, and Willow also identifies with that, which is why we get on so well. And we just have so much fun playing and just allowing the hair to be free. And it's as simple as that. And I think when you operate with no boundaries or little boundaries, you can really find yourself in unexpected, beautiful spaces.
Yeah, and I mean, that family is so gorgeous, it's kind of ridiculous. So, like, really?
As well.
Okay. So let's keep going here. Speaking of iconic, I mean, there's so few cover. Bizarre, when they do a cover and it's big, I mean, it's really big. This flew off the shelves. There was global recognition about this campaign. So tell us a little bit about this shoot, and if we can, I know it's one of those magic moments with the hair again. Was there some air going on? Was it brushwork? Was it catch and release? Like what kind of, like, because it just fills the page beautifully without being too much.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk for days about Serena. We have this unspoken relationship. I think when we first met, Serena was aware that I work a lot with natural hair textures, and I think it was something that she has always been exploring, but wanted to delve into a different perspective of that. And so with the work that I do with her, there's a lot of play with length and color, but still keeping it really free in its authentic state, whatever that may be. And in this particular image that you're looking at, it was a very hot day in Florida. And we wanted just to keep the hair free and natural, but give it a lot of lift. And there have been many covers. I think one of the ones you were speaking to that really hits home for me is the Vanity Fair one that I did while she was pregnant with Olympia. And like most of that image is all of her natural hair with the knotted braid going back. Like that for me will be one of my things that I look back in my career and go, whoa, I was a part of that experience. And it was one of the few times that Serena had allowed her natural hair to be fully shown, just because of protecting the integrity of the texture. And so that, to be a part of that vulnerability of that, what she was putting out there was just something that I'm trying not to tear up, but It's these are things that I do not take for lightly. That I do not take lightly, even though I would have done them time after time after time. Each time I'm booked, it's like the first time being asked to do the job, and I'm just very grateful.
So many beautiful shots, and there are so many other things I want to chat with you about. I mean, who has hundreds and hundreds? Did we have more we were going to show now? I think we're going to show some more later. So what I would like to do now,
Oh
we
yeah,
have one.
you have this one.
How can we? We've got to talk about Lupita. I mean, come
I
on.
mean,
This is so good. It's like this upstyle. Tell me about it, because is that a cut? Is that an upstyle? It's so hard to tell, but it's so chic with this look.
this, yeah, I mean, this was a rewarding experience for so many levels, because of the team that was involved, but also once again, just to be on the front cover of Vogue, and for her to be sporting her natural hair texture and to be given those voluptuous shapes and designs, is something that me and her personally we lead with pride. And so to be able to do this in how and why we did it, it's something that I'm really proud of this, but also because there's little to no retouching to it. When you look at the actual behind the scenes pictures of it, which is where I really pride myself, by the way, as an artist, because that's where you see the true work. It's exactly the same. And so sometimes, you can do stuff and get away with it, and it photographs really well. But this is how it looked, and this was the sculpture, this was the size, and this was the balance. And I'm really just happy that I was able to be a part of this extraordinary opportunity with the team that we worked with.
It's so gorgeous. And I've been to do press. I'm sure I've been to Condé Nast. I've been to the Vogue offices hundreds of times. But I, unfortunately for me, have never done a Vogue cover shoot. I know what the Vogue office is like. What's the set like, and who is the creative director on the shoot? Like, I'm so curious. Like,
I mean, these shoots can happen anywhere in the world. I've shot with
yeah.
Lupita for Vogue in Paris. I shot with her in Kenya. I've shot with her in New
Wow.
York. I've shot with her in LA. They can happen with anywhere, from Stephen and the photographers, from Anna Leibovitz to Stephen Menzel to Mario Testino. Like, it's just so, all these comes with different asks. And so where do you want to start with it?
Oh my God. So yeah, because Anna only works with I just took her master class. There's a very short list of who's the cover, like and you just did names, 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 sweetie. Are there any of those photographers that you can speak about just having a really great experience with? I know they're all amazing. I mean, they're the biggest in the world.
Peter Lindbergh.
Oh, okay. Peter Lindbergh. Okay.
He actually did the Lancome one that you would just no, not that one
Okay.
actually. It wasn't that one. The last one that we just did, that's just rolled out. He shot that. One of the most genuine people. Oh my God, I feel like I'm tearing up. He was so amazing to be around. He would often photograph us on set as well,
Yeah.
and then send us the imagery. And so he is just he's a diamond. And
Okay.
it's not often, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you get so excited to go and see the
Yeah.
photographer on set of these enormous shoots, but we would
Yeah.
walk in and he would like, yo, how are you? Like, he was
Oh,
just a dream to work with.
I think we could bring you back and talk about just that, like working with all these photographers as its own topic. We found some of the images of Serena of the Vanity Fair
Oh
shoot.
yeah,
So this is what you were talking about with the
yeah.
natural hair and just the incredible. I mean, these
Yeah,
are
it's the one where
paintings.
she's naked on the side. Yes. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
on the
that's fine.
cover. Yeah,
Yes.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, they're
Beautiful
just,
though.
yeah, it's
And
to be a
she's
part of any experience with someone who, as a female, who is in the process of having a baby. For me, as a feminist, this is something that I will cherish and do not take lightly. And
yeah,
so I'm all for supporting women, and this is just something that I think is we should hopefully continue to see more of women in positions of strength and showcasing their beauty in whatever glory it wants to present
yeah.
itself in.
I agree completely. Since you mentioned being a parent and children. I'm obsessed with your
You really
videos
trying to
with
make me cry in
Zayla.
here today.
Your videos with Zayla are like so precious, whether she's getting a scalp massage or you're playing on the beach. It's like you're just such a good dad. What's it like being a father?
Um, Thank you.
And with such a
It's
busy career, like
I know. I don't know how to answer that question, but what I will say is that I always knew that I was going to be a parent. Anyone that's known me will tell you. My mum, I think she was expecting to have kids a lot earlier, and to out of her 5 boys to have the most kids. So when we told her I was having a baby, she wasn't surprised by the idea. I would be a doula if I had my own way, or a midwife. Um,
yeah,
I'm obsessed with the construct of helping people be their best selves, and I think one of the most practical ways you can do that is being a guardian for someone in whatever capacity that is. And the fact that I'm allowed to do that, and I was chosen along with my partner to be a part of Zayla's life experience, is something that I'm often grappling with day by day, minute by minute, second by second.
yeah,
I don't take the parenthood lightly. And my goal is to make sure that I am present and I listen, and to make sure that she knows that she's loved. And so that's
yeah,
all my responsibilities. And I'm just really blown away that I positioned myself to be able to do this life's work,
yeah,
because it's something that is often taken away from people like myself. So
yeah.
I'm
The
happy.
two of you, you're like my daddy bloggers, basically. It's you and Chad White. Do you follow Chad White? Like I'm
I
obsessed with
can't
watching
say
him too.
I do by name, but I may be with my
He's like a
dyslexia in my brain.
supermodel. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I should.
he's a
I think I
supermodel with a juice baby.
then I probably do follow him. But I should have. I didn't even mention. I didn't talk about my dyslexia, which has been a whole thing that's really led me through, which has been my sort of anchor that has led me through my whole creative experience in life. Because
Yeah,
of my ability to think different, and something that I hadn't realized was a strength until later on in my life. And
yeah,
playing into that has been something that's really allowed me to become the person who I know I always was.
yeah. Well, speaking of things we are proud of, we're very proud to have you join the PBA NAHA committee and to be a judge for us this year. Can you explain why it's important for people to be involved with things like NAHA and competitions, for example?
On both sides, because I've been on
Oh,
both
sure.
sides. I've been on the corner, I've been underneath, I've been on every side of it.
Well, to compete
Yeah,
or at least to get involved, because obviously you've got more Vogue covers than we can count. You don't need to win an award to get attention, right? But you're giving back. You're part of the committee. You're helping to judge the work.
yeah. I mean, it's. I also don't. I think it's important to recognize for me that the idea of being able to showcase your work on a platform that you may have not had the opportunity to do, had this um, platform not being there, is really important for artists in general. And so I think sometimes hair art is often misunderstood and often underrepresented.
Right.
Yeah, often
Yeah.
underrepresented. And so when you look at the statistics around the amount of talented hairstylists that exist versus the amount of hairstylists that get the ability to live this lifestyle that we all should be living, it's kind of unbalanced. And so I think we award ceremonies and the construct of awards can often shine a light on some blind spots in the industry that I think sometimes go often underserved for a lot of reasons. And my goal in being a part of being on the judging side, having been on the other side in submitting awards, is to be an enabler to present opportunity and choice. If I may, when I was younger and I was forced to submit into awards. Some I won, some I got to the finals, and many I lost. I often thought about, do they know how much I put into this?
Right.
And I was left unanswered. And then I was like, I would love to have feedback. Where did I go wrong? If it was wrong that I went. And so now that I'm in a position of being on the other side, I'm answering those questions for those other people that will have the same questions that I had, that was met with silence. And I think the more that we can communicate the process that's involved, the more that we can expand and work on identifying what really is inclusivity, which is not based on race. It's actually based on everything about who we are as humans. It's called including everything. And that includes mindsets and behaviors. And with my dyslexia, I wasn't always able to read, so I couldn't enter into the form. So what are we going to do about that? You know, and I feel now that I'm in a position where I can potentially highlight those, we can opt to do better as we collectively move forward to being better as humans. And so that's why I think it's a really exciting experience for me to once be sitting back in a seat of where I hopefully will be implementing change for the good of everyone else that comes after us.
We're so glad to have you on the committee, and we work round the clock, and you can see at probeauty.org/NAHA a full list of the judges, and we're just very excited. You know, everybody applied to be a judge, so they're very serious about doing it, and we thank you for doing that. And there's so much love coming through from Facebook from that, so thank you for that.
I should get up and do a twerk, but I went to the gym, so I'm really stiff. So you just saw me in mid-thinking. I was just about to get up and do it, and I thought, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, my twerk is like,
yes.
my twerk needs work. We're just going to say that.
I like that. Oh, I'm going to take that. I like that. Yes.
Trademark.
Yes.
So red carpet season, like my favorite thing at the Emmys was Zendaya. Like the way she went from a sleek look to when she got the award, it was like floppy curls in her face. I was dying over that, and the cute little like midriff thing. Red carpets are still going to happen or not? Like are awards happening, and is there anyone you can tell us about that you might be styling? Or do they wait till the very last minute to let you know?
Question, and I need to look at the name because I can't pronounce the name, and it's my dyslexia. But her name is Grada. I just did a client yesterday, and she won the award for Best Documentary at the Goffin Awards. And so red carpets are still happening, but they're just doing it virtual. And so, you know, people have been trying to book me and to show up and do. Now we're showing up to do a shoot behind the scenes. If you follow me, then you know I work with Elaine Weltroff, who's just like, if you don't know her, she's already an icon, but she's going to become more legendary as her career continues to strengthen. And we are always capturing content. And so we're always, actually behind the scenes is way more exciting than anything else. But yeah, the red carpet stuff is always happening, and we are now just shooting for this interaction versus actually walking down red carpet. So the BTS is the most strongest image you're going to get at the moment. But you know, we're still being booked. I think a lot of people are just working from uncertainty at the moment, so we don't really know what's happening. But luckily, people still want to feel and look beautiful. So I'm not out of the job just yet.
So basically, instead of being at like the Beverly Hilton, you're going to be going to their house because they're going to be zooming in for their awards.
Absolutely, all COVID tested and stuff. It's a busy day, but it's all about lighting. But it's just a new norm. I think people are now figuring ways, and just I think the last year and months have really presented the opportunity for people to be a little bit more mindful in how they think about their time and where they spend their time and who they spend their time with. And so therefore, I think collectively, we are learning to treat ourselves better and treat others better.
Yeah. Well, I know, speaking of being a good father, I know you've got to go get beautiful Ava
she's waiting for me.
And what we like to end, we had every single question was creative. So if you could honor me and just ask my silly question, I always ask at the end, and you're a very creative guy. Let's say Crayola Crayon was allowing you to create your very own color crayon. You get to name it if you like. or you get to choose the color. What do you think you would call it, and what would the color be?
So I thought about this question, and then when I did the research, I saw that they had done something similar, but it still wasn't as I had thought about it. So I'm still going to suggest it. And if they do decide to move forward with this, you guys heard it here first. I
Okay,
would
good.
want on IP, because I think with anything that we do, the intention and storytelling and meaning behind it is way more stronger than the actual thing that you're doing. And so I would love to see a crayon that was tie-dyed effect and not rainbow colors, tie-dye. And I think one of the things when we are creating and drawing and storytelling is we often get skewed by the what we're doing in the moment, and sometimes we don't realize the impact of color. And I think the nuance of just seeing different colors come out, whether you're writing a note or drawing or coloring, can really help bring more understanding to the story that you want to tell. And I think it would be a beautiful thing to, for example, just to give you a black and white scenario, we're always taught that boys wear color blue and girls wear color pink. And imagine if a 3-year-old had this tie-dye color, and as they were drawing the picture of a boy, it was all these colors. And then the same for the female. And then you're educating with no boundaries and allowing these people to live a free and easier life without telling them how to think. And that's the importance of why that pen should be made, because you're leading with freedom versus being dictatorial in how we should be looking at things. Does that make sense?
I love it. I actually really
and I don't have a
that.
name for it. I don't have a name for it, but I thought it should be freedom pen. But it's just more. It's we are so always concerned about what we're doing and not why we're doing it and what the knock-on effect is. And I spend my life's work talking to people about the relationships around their hair and the texture and what it means to them and the damage that they've incurred through people, visual, cartoon, animation. And this is just another way of thinking about the impact of the greater generation without doing anything but just presenting them to think freely.
I love that. I love the very first time I asked that question, I loved the answer because it was purely her. And this is the most recent time I've asked the question. Chelsea Von James, it was pure her. She was like, it's yellowish and it's going to be called trailer trash. That was like, so her. And she's a many time nominee and winner. I was like, nailed it, girl. That's your.
I want that delivered to my house right now, and I'll be regifting that to so many people. That's such a good regifting present.
She said it was like smoker's tooth yellow or something. It was hysterical.
Right.
So yours is so beautiful. Those will go in my my Hall of Fame. I want to thank you so much for doing this interview. I'm so glad we could take you from your busy day and take you from beautiful Zela. And I'm looking forward to working with you on the committee, as I'm sure everyone is. And to all those of you who are watching, if you came in late, this will be posted at probeauty.org/NAHA. I only say that 100 times per interview. And again, a toast to all the hard work over the last year to making collections happen against the odds, ladies and gentlemen. The awards tomorrow. Not the awards tomorrow, but the nominees tomorrow. We'll all be there watching 11 a.m. Pacific if you're in Hollywood time here. We'll just call it Hollywood time. Or 3 hours later on the East Coast. Vernon, do you have any final words for us as we end this beautiful session? Yeah.
Thank you for asking. You're so kind. I just wanted to say thank you to yourself and to the NAHA committee team and people that have really allowed me to feel safe in this space and welcomed me with open arms. You can go often feeling unheard in this industry if you're a person of color, particularly. And I'm very grateful that I've been given the opportunity to speak for us and to be a part of a bigger cause that is bigger than oneself. And I know that we're destined to create greatness and shift the narrative and do what we've known is always needed to be done. And so I just want to say thank you for allowing that to happen and just allowing me to be who I am without any judging. Well, not to my face anyway, but yeah.
we are who you should know after today's meeting. We are who we are. It's all good.
I know, which I love. It's like being back in the salon again, and we know how that is. And so,
We're all
that's
family
like
here.
that's like a place of home for me, being in the salon. So there's no better place than being in the salon as a hair artist. So I'm very grateful. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you. No better way to end that. Remember, tune in here tomorrow at 11 a.m. at 2 p.m. on the East Coast time. Hopefully, I got that right. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I got it right. Right here, where you're watching us, Facebook. The nominees are coming out tomorrow. Thank you again, Vernon. Go
Do
get
we
you
not
a
have no
baby.
dancing music? And we're going to try and
We will
twerk?
start exit.
I'm going to.
The next interview is going to have all those things, and then you're going to. I told you already, my twerk needs work. So. Leslie's going to get the music.
You got it
We'll
up
see
half.
everybody next time. Thanks for watching, folks.
Ciao.
Bye. Thank you so much, Vernon.